it's just the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Fake. We can see that you don't have pants on.
Somebody hit somebody with a pie. Do something.
Giovanni yelling we're out of time as we go off the air.
Giovanni yelling a lot of things tonight.
And welcome to the Mark It Down podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to the Mark It Down podcast. It's been a minute. I am Mean Streak Matt. I'm not loving the lighting right now. Maybe a little bit better behind the lamp. I don't know. Should have figured it out earlier. But here we are. It is time for a Monday Night Raw review. And still not loving the lighting, so bear with me. But tonight we were in Pittsburgh. No Kurt Angle, though I don't think he really would have fit into anything. Maybe they could have done something backstage with Chad Gable, but Chad Gable is hurt. We will get into that. They do talk about it on the show. Let me get a little hydration. But a lot of Seth Rollins tonight. Seth Rollins in the show and his group, whatever the heck they're calling themselves. I've been a little behind the wheel doing all the stuff on the social medias for us. I have not been watching much, but I did watch the full episode of Raw tonight, and we're going to get right into it. So it started, Rhea Ripley opened the show. Very big reaction from her. Some great shots on camera for her. Great facials. You know, she's pretty reliable. She comes out. She's very proud of herself for defeating Raquel Rodriguez. And let's get that on the ticker as well. Yes. So she beat Raquel Rodriguez. And Rhea Ripley says she is done with the Judgment Day. Hopefully this time for good. Joking on how this has become an elongated storyline for better or for worse. Really for you to say. I think it's had its ups and downs like many things in wrestling and in life. So that being said, their match, their street fight was, I thought, very good and a good direction to go in. So anyway, Rhea's happy. What I wasn't happy about was some of that video package they did show of the street fight. They did like live reactions from fans doing like podcasts like this. Now on the Mark It Down podcast, we've talked about doing like live, you know, as we're watching live reactions, and we've decided basically to continue doing this instead, doing the after show reviews. That way we have more time to really let it sit in, let it sink in, and review it. And then also those live things, a lot of times the reactions are very over the top. If you want to see over top reactions, definitely go to our Instagram page. My Fanatics Fest recap. There's a lot of overreactions from me. So I don't want to see those though in the video packages. Anyway, Rhea gets off that side beat. Rhea gets interrupted by Io Sky. She comes out, big applause. She does a weird thing where she's not only just high-fiving fans on the side, she's putting the belt up like she's ready to give up the belt. I don't know if like people are high-fiving the belt. I don't know if that's foreshadowing her losing the belt to Rhea, but we are off to the races for WWE Evolution. The second coming. I don't know. They're just calling it Evolution. I call it Evolution 2, or well, it doesn't matter, but I digress. She comes out. She congratulates Rhea. They have a very cordial exchange, and I like that Io told us that Adam Pearce, general manager Adam Pearce, he gave her the option to choose her opponent for Evolution to defend the title against, and she's like, I want to defend it against you, Rhea. And Rhea accepts. Rhea has like a little bit of an awkward exchange, like kind of repeating things over and over again, like this is what you asked for, something, but it's all fine. It goes by, no big deal. And we have a great matchup set for Evolution. And I feel like this is now the time that Rhea's going to get the championship back, hopefully with a good storyline to go with it. Because I think, yeah, Mommy's always on top and she's a fan favorite, but you never want just like a stale title run. You know what I mean? Like, she's not had the title long enough that like she can win it back. But I hope they have a good storyline to go with it. So that's set up for Evolution. We got a big match for Evolution set right there, and we're off to the races with that. Do I have anything else written for this? Nope. So let's go on to. Give me a sec. Oh, this is a funny little exchange. We had Dominic Mysterio backstage. He's still injured. He's got his doctor's note. He shows AJ. He says something to AJ about pulling out his reading glasses to see for himself, and AJ does. And AJ's got reading glasses, and he does almost the entire promo work after. Like, their whole exchange is him reading is talking with the glasses on, the reading glasses, after he's already done reading. And it's dumb, but it's great. And I'm like, more opportunities for AJ to pull out reading glasses and just talk in reading glasses. That would make my day. You know, it would be great. And I don't want them to come back for like a run or anything, but you just see AJ with the glasses on, and just Luke Gallows comes in with Carl Anderson. They look at him up and down. They go, nerd. That to me would be amazing. Just a one-off. I know Carl Anderson hasn't spoken well of WWE. He feels like he got slighted, which I'm not saying he didn't. I'm just saying like he's been kind of outspoken on the situation with him and Luke Gallows leaving WWE was not on great terms. But I think that would be great if they came in for just like one segment and that's it. And like they just, you don't see him again until whenever. Who knows? And who doesn't like a nice payday, right? Not that they need it. I'm just saying, who doesn't like a nice payday? So we're still getting that match somewhere down the line. Dominic Mysterio versus AJ Styles for the Intercontinental Championship. That could be a low-key banger, in my opinion. We saw Dominic do some great work with Penta and oh God, what? No, it wasn't hologram. It was the other shape. Penta and Hexa. Was it Hexagon? You know the AAA guy. Sorry, I forgot his name right now. Anyway, we're getting into a tag team match for the World Tag Team Championships. Now, this seems odd on paper to me. Again, I've been a little bit out of the loop. I've been doing the live shows, going to live local wrestling events, and doing social media, like doing our Instagram, posting random stuff on there. I haven't been following very closely with the Monday Night Raw. So I guess the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and not Damian Priest, Finn Balor and JD McDonough became number one contenders for the New Day's Tag Team Championships. And I guess that happened last week. And the tag title match is tonight. This is odd right off the bat because you've got two bad guy teams. You got two heel teams. Typically in wrestling, you don't see a heel versus heel. You don't see a baby face versus a baby face straight up. Usually there's like a third element involved, or something's going to have to give, and one team's going to have to be the de facto heel or the de facto face. You know what I'm saying? And nothing against that. I actually like heel versus heel matches. I think they can work, even if essentially one guy might get cheered more while the other guy gets booed more. I think it's an interesting dynamic. And I certainly like heel versus heel more than I like babyface versus babyface. But I was just very suspicious because I knew, like in my heart of hearts, even though I'm not super on top of everything. Oh, and we do have some comments. Give me some. Share your refer. I don't know how to do that. Don't. Oh my God. Everything's so small on my phone. I can't post comments. What is this? Okay, whatever. I don't care. If you post comments, thanks. It's not letting me see it. I'm trying here, folks. In my heart of hearts, I knew that neither of these teams was going to have like a face turn tonight, or neither of these teams, one of them was going to break up with the other. Like I knew nothing like that was going to happen. These teams were not changing tonight. They were the status quo. And that's indeed what did happen. And they had a decent match. I think both teams are capable of better matches, especially the New Day. They've been doing this forever. But it was by no means a bad match. It was just a decent match. Had some fun spots. JD McDonough doing a springboard moonsault to the outside. We saw a spot where JD was holding Xavier Woods like this. So JD's on the bottom, Xavier Woods is on top of him, and he's holding him, locking him in. And Finn Balor went for the coup de grace, but Xavier Woods rolled out of the way last second, and he ends up hitting the coup de grace on JD. We got the Midnight Magic, the New Day's old finishing move that they did with Big E. They brought that back. That got a near fall. There was a lot of fun stuff going on here. And like I said, it was a decent match. You could even say it was just a solid match, good match, whatever you want. Again, I just think it was not a banger by any means. But the crowd got hot for the big spots, which was also good to say. It was a solid crowd tonight. Finally, at the end, I thought something was going to happen. Like we were going to have a run in. I wasn't thinking anyone from Judgment Day, but I was thinking maybe like a returning team comes in and spoils it, whether that's another heel team or maybe the War Raiders come out and they've got beef with both teams, or who knows, maybe the Wyatts are going to come to Raw because they just lost on SmackDown. Maybe they come and like just break up the match. That was my number one guess, but it didn't happen. Instead, we straight up got new tag team champions, the Judgment Days. Finn Balor and JD McDonough beat the New Day, who have new music. When did that happen, guys? I haven't been in the loop. You let me know. And they become the world tag team champions. I couldn't figure out why this was happening. It wasn't insane, but it just seems weird to do a heel to heel transfer of titles without any face team in between, or make it a triple threat match where like the Judgment Day pin the face team and the New Day lose it without even getting pinned themselves. It just seemed odd and not bad by any way means. I thought it could have been a little bit of a better match, but just interesting. So they win. Dominic Mysterio comes out to celebrate them. It's the three guys. They're champions. And then let me get to the next part of the show. What's happened next? Okay. Bayley backstage promo. I didn't really listen to this one. I don't like listening to Bayley talk. I don't think she's much of a talker. She reminds me of Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh by voice and not by looks. She's just kind of like depressing a lot of the times. And just, I guess her and Bird Lady, Lyra Valkyria, have beef. And so they were mad at each other for last week and about Becky. So Adam Pearce comes in and he screams. He's like, enough. It was like kind of almost an overreaction for him, but I love it. I think he's great. So he decides the two of you are going to have a match tonight. The winner will get to face Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental Championship, the Women's Intercontinental Championship. So that's set for later. Next up, I keep seeing comments, but give me a sec. Maybe if I just turn this real quick, let me see the comments. Okay, now I'm seeing the comments. I couldn't see the comments before, guys, with the way my phone was set up. We got Mary, show on stage. Maria Graciela Saya says, what's up, everybody? Good to see you, Maria. Sorry, I said Maria before. Glad you could make it. What else we got comments-wise? We got a few. Okay, give me a sec. I'll get to the comments. Oh, Daniel Hernandez says, let's go Mets. Let's go Matt. I appreciate that. We actually just had a video for the Mets today on our Instagram page. I hope you like that as well. Most of us here at the Market Down Pod are Mets fans, except for James, but we all can't be perfect. Let's go Mets. Let's go Mats. Thank you, Daniel Hernandez. Daniel Hernandez says Judgment Day is upon us. referring to the group, and who knows what else is going on in the political scheme of things, but let's not get into that. Or whatever they say. Ha ha ha. James says Braun and Bronson are big dogs. Sure. Night of Champions, more like Day of Champions. Well said, Philip J. We already talked about Maria. Heel is underrated. I agree, Maria. I do like a good heel versus heel match. I think it can be done successfully, even if one heel is getting cheered and the other one's getting booed. Roxanne Perez, new member of Judgment Day. We'll get to that, Christopher Leclerc. Don't worry. And I think Christopher also says Bailey talks a lot. I agree. James, who cares what you say, James? We're in a slump. I know, but we're talking about the Mets. But anyway, back to the pod, and what are we talking about? Okay, so we see Chad Gable had gotten injured legitimately, and they wrote him off by having him get into a argument that turned physical with Penta backstage. And Penta gave him the, the sacrifice, his arm finisher, like his arm breaker finisher. So we now see Chad Gable in a sling in his left arm. He says he's out with an injury. He's going to have to get surgery. Adam Pearce wishes him the best. And he's on his way. He tells American Made, hey, guys, hold it down until I get back. Ivy Nile, you're in charge. And this is where it's funny. It's unintentionally funny. Ivy Nile goes to say something, and she gets cut off. Like the camera just decides, okay, we're going to a new segment. And it was definitely not done on purpose. It's like one of those things where like they just end up not catching the last thing someone says before they go to the next segment. And it's just really funny because Chad Gable just said, hey, Ivy's in charge. Listen to her. And, the cameras were like, okay, who cares? Let's move on. And that's also kind of says a lot about Ivy Nile's character. It's like she doesn't have a catchphrase. I don't remember anything she's ever said ever. I've always said she's had potential. They need to book her like a pit bull and not like this scrappy underdog. I think there's a huge difference. Like, is she height-wise one of the shorter women on the roster? Yeah, but there's a lot of short women on this roster now. We got Alexa Bliss, and she's scary as fuck. We got Roxanne Perez, who I think has been booked terribly since Royal Rumble, but she's got some good things coming on the horizon. Just keep listening to this pod. We'll get to her later. There's being short is not a, huge detriment. It's not a death sentence. And she's got fucking guns, man. Like, just book her like that. Like, have her put everybody in a headlock. Have her backstage, like, smashing watermelons with her in between her. There's stuff you can do here with her, and they're not doing it. But we'll see where this goes. We'll get to it in a little bit. Goldberg vignette. I don't.
You missed something from that American Made segment.
Oh, sorry, that happened in that one. I was thinking it was in the next one.
So
Didn't that happen in the next part?
I could have swore it all happened together, unless I missed something.
We can blend it in. It's no big deal. I think they went back to them, the three of them. All we know, yes, it did happen later, James. It did happen.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. We can tell it out of order. Later in the show, we just get back to, they make an announcement that Evolution, the women's PLE, is going to have a battle royal, and the winner will get a championship match. We don't know which championship, but obviously not the women's world title because Io is already defending that. But the winner will get a championship match at what is it? Clash of Paris or Clash of?
Yeah, Clash something. But you also missed Ludwig Kaiser just standing in the background at the end of that segment, which is kind of
straight up Ludwig. Ludwig. Okay, then that did.
And then later on, that's when we get into it. But yeah.
Okay, so I'll just tell the end of it then. So yeah, we had Ludwig Kaiser sneaking in the background, which I missed. But then when we talk about the battle royal that Ivy has now declared herself for, Grande Americano comes out and he looks at her and he gives her the head nod and he walks away. But it's definitely not Chad Gable. Like, legitimately, it was 100% Ludwig Kaiser in the Americano costume. I mean, they have different builds. Chad's kind of bulkier and shorter. Ludwig's leaner and taller. James, has Ludwig been back at all lately, or is tonight his first night back? Do you know? Can you jump in real quick?
As far as I know, this is the first time he's been on camera in a while.
Yeah,
But don't quote me.
Yeah, again, I haven't been watching religiously. Again, been doing real life stuff with the pod. The last I heard of Ludwig was before WrestleMania. You know, he made that joke about Charlotte that he wasn't in her DMs, and like, you know, there was speculation that did that come back to bite him, which I hope not, because that would be BS. You know, did he get punished for making Charlotte look bad on Twitter, which, let's be honest, isn't that hard to do at this point. No offense to Charlotte. But yeah, we have not seen Ludwig Kaiser in a while. This is the first time we saw him in the background, and he was definitely dressed up as Grande Americano. What are they doing with this character? And like, it's just, you did definitely a lot of questions, and it's not like bad, but it's also just like, why? Like, in what circumstance would this happen? Curious to say the least. So we'll see. So basically, this had the second part of that thing, like, was right after the Goldbergs vignette. So we're back where we're supposed to be. After Americano gives the head nod to Ivy, Jackie Redmond sees Sami Zayn like across the hallway. She runs over to him. She wants to talk to him. Sami just won a big match in Saudi Arabia. Before he can really get into a flow with Jackie. I'm about to say Damian Cross, and I was going to say Killer Cross. I surely should have all these names written down first. I always have them in my head, but then I mix them up. Karrion Kross attacks out of Sami out of nowhere, does a pretty, solid job attacking him, and hits him with a lead pipe, and hits him pretty hard. So the fact, I'm like, Sammy's wearing a sweatshirt. I'm like, I hope he had some more coverage under that sweatshirt, because it looked like he hit him, gave him a pretty decent shot. So that's all that happens there. Standard backstage attack, but it was solid nonetheless. We then have the Judgment Day. We have them in their clubhouse. And I see why they put the titles on them. They're going back to the old Judgment Day has all the gold scenario. I guess they didn't think really New Day could do anything else with the tag titles, and they thought they were better. They could be better suited to the Judgment Day in a storyline. And I can't disagree with that. I think a lot of us wanted to see Xavier Woods do a solo run, break off from the New Day. Instead, they had to pivot with the whole Odyssey Jones thing. They didn't have to, but they chose to pivot with the whole Odyssey Jones thing. And they decided to turn the New Day heel and have them disband from Big E. They excommunicated Big E. And they ended up becoming, they finally won a match at WrestleMania, and they not only won a match, but they won the tag team titles in a pretty whatever match. I mean, again, they're one of the greatest tag teams of all time. You tell me, hey, the New Day's got a match, I'm immediately like, cool. But I do also want to know who they're facing and what the context is. Because I got to say, this run as heels, are they getting massive boos and massive heat, and are they entertaining? Yes, but they're not. It's not that much of a departure of what they've been in the past. It doesn't feel like a huge evolution, except for the fact that they dropped the guy who they unofficially dropped anyway. So they're no longer tag team champions. The tag titles are back with New Day. And we have a backstage segment with the three guys I mentioned earlier, JD McDonough, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio. And Roxanne Perez is in the clubhouse. Raquel Rodriguez comes over I forgot to mention earlier that Finn and JD suggested to Adam Pearce and what's his name? The other guy, Magnus, whatever the hell his name is now. The other GM guy. You know who I'm talking about. I'm driving myself nuts here. And we've got comments. Give me a sec to go to the comments. And I gotta. You really won't let me see the comments like this, will you? I have to turn my phone, which is terribly annoying. But we're gonna do it because I love you guys and I want to read your comments. Okay, what do we got here? Put your camera on, James. Well, it was never Chad Gable. Good take there, Daniel Hernandez. I cannot lie. I cannot be one of the only people that doesn't mind the Judgment stuff. I preferred it with Carlito, to be honest, but I think it's good for Roxanne to be part of the group. Again, she is the worst record for women in WWE this year. Like, she's got like 19 losses. I think I've said it on this pod before that she's been booked horribly since Royal Rumble, both in NXT and in the main roster. Like, it's insanely bad how she's been booked. But maybe she can do something with the New Day. Sorry, the Judgment Day. You got more than this is why you don't repeat names, because then you got people messing up names like me right now. And it's Nick Aldis. That was the other GM I was looking for. The two of them tell JD McDonough and Finn Balor, sure, Roxanne can be the interim. They don't even say interim, but they should have. She can be the tag champ with Raquel, but they have to take on 3 other teams at Evolution. They have to take on a tag team from SmackDown, a tag team from Raw, and a tag team from NXT. I really hope it's Sol Ruca and Zarya from NXT, and hell, let them win the titles. Like, that would be something crazy and unexpected, just having, okay, Roxanne, you can be tag champ, and then she immediately loses it. I think that would be interesting, compelling. They might want to make it go a little bit longer, which I understand. I get that. But those titles have not gone to NXT in quite some time. So back to the Judgment Day, and I'll finish that thought. Raquel comes in. She's like, what did you do? And she's like, yeah, this is what's going to happen. Raquel's not really into it. They take a vote. Finn Balor, JD, they both vote for Roxanne to be in the Judgment Day. Dominic's hesitant. He's like, I need to talk to Liv. And Finn Balor's like, no, you need to make a decision on your own. Like, be your own man. And Dominic hesitantly is like, I think he said, like, temporary, like yes. You know what I mean? Something like that. I forgot the exact wording of it, but that was essentially what he said. And then Raquel's like, okay, fine, but don't mess this up, Roxanne. So Roxanne is officially a member of the Judgment Day, and she is now one half of the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. So good way for Roxanne to bounce back. Like I said, worst record of any of the women on the main roster. Again, 19 losses this year. Not great. But now she's a tag team champion. Is that saying a lot? No. But does it give her something to do? Yes. And she's got a match at WWE Evolution. So that's great for her. I like I think the dynamic between the two of them could work really well, Raquel and Roxanne. I mean, they both got R's in their name. They're both the Hispanic Latinas or Latinx, if you want to be real political about it, politically correct about it, which I don't mind being at all. And I think the most interesting part about them is that, again, Roxanne's one of the shortest members of the roster, and Raquel is one of the tallest. So they could do a real, twins situation here with Arnold and Danny DeVito. They could do a real Shawn Michaels and Diesel type scenario between the two of them. This could be fun. And hell, maybe I do want them to have the tag titles more than just for Evolution. That being said, I do think it's been too long since the tag titles have been on NXT. I think them making NXT tag team titles was a mistake to begin with. Yes, because I mean they were essentially if you remember that far back, it was Raquel Rodriguez and Dakota Kai had a tag title match against the tag champs at the time, which was Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler. I think one of them pinned the wrong person. I think Shayna pinned Dakota, but Raquel was the legal woman. And William Regal, who's the GM at the time, was like, you know what, you're right. And I was like, hell yeah, we're getting a rematch, because the match was actually really solid. And I was really into Raquel and Dakota at the time. I thought they deserved to be champions. But instead, William Regal just created new tag titles, and they were for NXT. And I'm like, this is dumb. They're consolation prizes. And then they combined them because they realized they didn't have the depth to hold two women's tag titles. But since then, I think the tag title scene, it's been up and down. But I think the women's roster in NXT is really strong. Even if they just did lose a couple tag teams, I think Sol Ruka and Zarya are the team to go with. I think they're next in line, in my opinion, whether it's at Evolution or maybe even better, they don't win at Evolution, but they get a one-on-one tag team title match afterwards. I'd really like to see that. It's been a long time since anyone from NXT has held the titles. I don't think, since they combined them, no one from NXT has held the tag titles. I thought it should have been Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend back in February. I think they should have had a short title reign, but they didn't. And now Jakara got fired, which I think is BS. All right. I have more rants on that, but we're just gonna move on to the next one because I think I ranted enough. Rusev versus Sheamus. This was a low-key banger with some heavy hitting. Sheamus started welting up real early. Like it was, they were getting their hits in. So this was a hard-hitting match that fit both these guys. I enjoyed it. I think a lot of people enjoyed it. I think the crowd in attendance enjoyed it. Interesting enough, I thought it was going to end with Rusev hitting the acolyte, the submission move, and I thought Sheamus was either going to tap out or pass out. And even Cole mentioned, he's like, Sheamus has lost to this move before. I wish he had said Sheamus passed out to this. I wish they had said Sheamus has lost to this move. This is how Rusev beat Sheamus for the U.S. title. That would have been too specific, I guess. They want people to look up, if they're interested, to look up how they lost. But yeah, Sheamus passed out to the acolyte. I think it would have been much more fitting if he tapped out tonight. He did not, though. He got out of the move impressively enough. There got some shenanigans on the outside, and then they were on the ring apron in the corner, and the steel, not the post, but the rod that separates the post from the turnbuckles, not the turnbuckle pad, but that rod, and Sheamus got hit with that, and then he went back in the ring, and Rusev kicked him with the Machka kick and pinned him. So I was surprised it didn't end with a tap out or a pass out. They really could have even done a pass out here. Like Sheamus just got hit with, like, that part of the ring that's not supposed to be exposed. I think they could have made that more believable with the pass out, but it's fine. It was surprising. And tonight's been kind of surprising. Again, I'm shocked that the tag titles changed with no ridiculousness. It was just two heel teams going at it, and a new team won because it fits their story better than it does the New Day. The New Day kind of told their story, Mania to the end of June. That's a decent run. I think a successful title run, like for Mania, is like Mania to SummerSlam. If it doesn't make it to SummerSlam, I don't consider it much, but like basically July 1st. You're a month before SummerSlam. It could have been worse. It's solid enough, and they have so many title runs, it doesn't really matter. But next up, it was a WWE Evolution video package. I didn't watch it. I know that they're doing JCJ and the NXT Women's Champion versus Jordan Grace. I assume, unless they're trying to give us a swerve, that Jordan Grace is going to become champ, and JC Jane is just essentially a transitional champion, which is fine. I think it would have been nice if they didn't fire Gigi Dolan, Priscilla Kelly. Let's just call her Priscilla Kelly. That's what she is now. She's back to being Priscilla Kelly. It would have been nice if she could have gotten a defense against her before they fired her, but that's neither here nor there. That match is happening. We know that Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley is happening. We know the women's tag titles are getting defended in a fatal four-way match, and that's all we got so far. I imagine we'll probably get. We'll get into it. We'll get into what I think is going to happen later. But Gunther comes to the ring. He gives a promo. Pretty standard Gunther promo. He gets better and better, though. Like, he's still not great, but he's solid. He's stoic. He says what he needs to say, and he doesn't fumble over his words. Sometimes you see him like see, he's doing better than me right now. You see the steam coming out of his ears because you see the God, I can't talk. I haven't done this in a while, guys. If you haven't noticed, it's it's a lot with these guys. A lot of these guys whose English isn't their first language, you can see them like, what's my next word? What's the next thing I'm going to say? You can see that going through their mind. But he's not stumbling and he's not taking long pauses. So like I said, he is good, and what he says is meaningful, and he's just like, he's great. He's just ripping into Goldberg about his 3 minutes matches. And I really love this because I think Gunther legitimately doesn't like Goldberg. I mean, he's talked about it in like interviews. I don't think he's gone after Goldberg, but it was just kind of like, oh, what do you think? There was like that one clip where it's just like, Goldberg isn't really, what I think of when I think of a professional wrestler. Like, that's not the professional wrestling that I enjoy. And people are like, oh, you're shit talking. It's like, no, we're all allowed to like different stuff. And let's face it, it's Goldberg's one of those weird dudes. Like, how does he get booked the way he does in WWE? But Kurt Angle can't get booked like that when he comes back, or like Chris Jericho can't get booked like that when he comes back. I mean, Goldberg was a WCW guy, and yes, so was Chris Jericho. But Chris Jericho left way before. He's more of a WWE guy than a WCW guy. Like, Goldberg will always be a WCW guy first. But for some reason, he's one of the guys that just kind of like, oh, well, that doesn't matter. And it's like, but why? It matters for so many other people who are, like, awesome. Like, it mattered for Sting, but it doesn't matter for Goldberg. He can still come here and win titles and make younger talent that we enjoy look bad, like the Kevin Owens and the Bray Wyatts. And the Dolph Ziggler's, even though Dolph, I think, had overstayed his welcome at that point anyway, he should have moved on and done something else, in my personal opinion. Don't think there was anything really big opportunities left for him. But I digress. Then, before I go on, actually, is it on here? Let me see. Nope, it's not on here. Seth comes out. Apparently, he's got a new briefcase. He's got a customized briefcase. It's pretty solid. I wouldn't have minded if they went back to the gold. Like, it's a black and gold. I would have liked the gold and black. Like, essentially, it's, if you're into Power Rangers, remember the Gold Ranger from Power Rangers Zeo? It's like that. It's mostly black with gold trim. I would have preferred gold with black trim, just because the Money in the Bank briefcase used to be like solid gold. And that's the briefcase I've always preferred. It's like gold on top, then white, then green, and blue and red on the bottom. I think they both look terrible in blue and red. But again, I digress. He comes out. cuts a promo. Apparently, he's cashing in on both champions. I don't know how that works. Maybe he's going to beat one champion and then cash in on the other. But he said, like, Gunther's not in any trouble right now. He's not, like, he's going to destroy whoever he's cashing in on. And he's obviously not there to destroy him. Gunther makes fun of Seth for going all the way to Saudi Arabia not to cash in on the 2 nights before. Seth said it was never about cashing in. Like, if you pay attention, it's because I've said that, like, CM Punk will not be world champion while I'm here. And that's what he did. He stopped CM Punk from winning. This cues up Punk to come out. He attacks Seth. Seth runs away. LA Knight meets Seth on the stairs. He starts beating up Seth. They have a match now for Saturday night's main event. That's in like a week on Saturday. A week from Saturday, that'll be. Just another match for LA Knight to lose, which is a shame. Again, I think people really like Seth. I know I do. I don't think this group is hitting all the marks they should. It has potential. It hasn't reached it yet. And I don't think Seth having Money in the Bank is the way to reach that potential. I think back to Money in the Bank, that was 6 guys, and 5 of the guys had never been world champion. You got Penta, El Grande Americano, LA Knight, Andrade, Seth Rollins, and somebody, Solo Sikoa. And the only guy in that match who's a world champion, who's been a world champion or main evented WrestleMania or both, is Seth Rollins. So that always bugged me. I like when they do Money in the Bank for an up-and-coming guy who you might not see win a world championship otherwise. Like, Daniel Bryan was a great one. So yeah, I don't like Seth with the Money in the Bank. I don't think he needs it. I don't even think LA Knight needs it, but at this point I think he does, because I don't think he's going to be a world champion otherwise. That window is closing on people's interest or what they're willing to put up with loss-wise. You don't want him to become a Dolph Ziggler, a guy who's just there to put on great performances and get the crowd going, but just to lose. Punk comes out and attack. Oh, I already said that. Punk pushes. Punk goes to leave, and Gunther kind of grabs him by the arm, and Punk shoves him down to the ground. So that was kind of fun. Doesn't make Gunther look great, but it's an interesting shade. It's not like he hit him with the GTS or buried him or anything. Anyway, end of it. Kairi Sane gets a great video package. I think the WWE video packages have been some of the best they've done in quite some time. The issue is the music. They have such generic, crappy music for a lot of their superstars. I forgot to mention earlier with Rusev, his music's supposed to sound Russian. It sounds French. Like, I don't even want to hum it, but like the generic French music, like like it's awful. And Def Record, they can make some solid hits. I would even say low-key bangers. They can, but the majority of their songs are awful, and you don't even know who's coming out. You don't know what it is, or it's super, like, just redundant, or just like, bro, if you didn't add that lyric, I wouldn't know who it is. Like Logan Paul, like his song is like, I'm humble. It's like, yeah, we all saw that promo. We all remember him saying that. That doesn't need to be his music. Like Street Profits, what is it? Like, we want the smoke in their song. It's like, okay, but it doesn't need to be in their music. And the music they had was great already. Like, what are we doing? We're doing this to save money, to, not pay royalties on old things, on contracts that are not, we're not making money on. I don't know how it works. I just know that the majority of these songs are terrible. For every good song, like Braun Breaker has a great song, but he had 2 bad songs before that. So that's in a nutshell right there with that Def Record and all, or Def Label, whatever the hell it's called. And I'll leave it at that. Braun Breaker has had 3 theme songs in the less than 5 years he's been here, and two of them are pretty mediocre and one's pretty cool. So that puts it into perspective. So Kyrie, great video package. Her music is super generic piratey music. And it used to just be solid pirate music. Like, it wasn't the best song on the roster, but it was fun. It was catchy. When it played, you knew who it was, even though it didn't have lyrics. This new one, it's like you kind of know who it is, but it doesn't. It's not like it doesn't raise the roof, like it doesn't get people going, and that's what songs need to do. Oh God, what did I do? Okay, I almost screwed up the thing. No, don't do this to me. Don't do this. Okay, cool. Bailey and Lyra match. I gotta move on. Bailey and Lyra match was fine. It ended in a double pin, no contest. They beat each other up afterwards. They go into the crowd beating each other up. It's fun. And I'm thinking, back to Evolution, I'm thinking it's going to lead to maybe a rematch where Becky gets involved, which causes a triple threat match for the women's IC title at Evolution. Let's face it, they're both really invested in the Intercontinental Championship, and I don't think there's room enough for them both to be on the card and in separate matches, unless it's like Becky versus one, then Becky versus the other after. But even that, I don't think they probably have enough time to pull all that off. CM Punk's backstage segment. He runs into Jackie Redmond. I guess things aren't over between him and Seth. I find that kind of disappointing. I'm not interested in seeing them have a one-on-one match. Again, this is supposed to this is a match. Sorry, it's a little cold right now. I'm going to turn off the fan. I'll be right back. I'm going to keep talking to you though. Don't watch the. Don't want to. Yeah, almost knocked over the camera and then almost knocked over a painting. But we're good. Let's go to the comments real quick while I'm at it. Comments. Yeah, I know. I got to figure out a better way to. I got to get my computer back up and running. Olivia Morgrigo. I don't know who that is, dude. Yeah. Well, we didn't see Christopher. We didn't see Evolution hasn't happened yet, but yeah, they will probably retain the women's tag team champions. I think post Mania it's been fine. Pre Mania was bad. 8 wins and 19 losses. Yeah, so Chris, I was right. The 19 losses, which I think is the most amount of losses for any women on the main roster. Like, think about it. I don't think Natalya has that many losses. She probably has a worse ratio, but 8 and 19 is pretty awful. Like, that's more than twice as many losses. I would say Natalya's probably got like 7 losses. Natalya's probably got like 15 losses, but not as many matches. But I digress. Let's keep moving forward. CM Punk runs into LA Knight. He's got heat with him too. It's funny. Like, he's just mad at everybody. Like, he's mad at Gunther. Gunther didn't do anything. I mean, Gunther did put his hands on him, but it was more kind of like you want to get his attention. I don't know. The shove basically seemed like an overreaction to Gunther, but not that big a deal. And again, I wouldn't say like a burial. It wasn't Triple H pedigreeing Paul London after pedigreeing both Paul London and Brian Kendrick after they saved him for no reason. Like, well, Triple H was a face. Like, that was a wild one. If you remember that one, I'm sure Paul still remembers that one. I saw Paul on Thursday. Yeah. Backstage, we got Sammy getting taped up by a woman in like a dank corridor, and I'm like, why isn't he in the medical facility, or why isn't he in the trainer's room? But Penta comes up to him. He's like, "Hey, you good to go?" And Sammy's like, "Yeah." And they do the little settle miedo. They are having a tag match against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, and we see Sammy go through Gorilla, and that's why he was in that dank, dark corridor and not in the trainings room, because he has a match and it's up next. Sami Zayn and Penta versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. This was good. I just don't want to see Penta in tag matches. You know what I mean? Because one, he's probably going to lose, and two, I just like him as a single star for now. If we're going to see him in tag matches, you obviously want to see him with his brother Ray Phoenix. So it's tough, and it is cool because like I feel like Sammy does. Sammy's a really good team player. He seems to be able to blend and get along and vibe with just about anybody on the roster, and that's just a great feeling. And honestly, I was happy. I met him last week at Fanatics Fest. We'll talk about some of the stuff I've been to towards the end of the pod. But yeah, Sammy's a great guy. I think everybody loves him. And even if he's not on top right now or the most popular, it is cool, again, to see him do the vibe. Like he did the little dance with Penta, and then they did a top rope suicida, which was fun. It was cool. And this was a pretty solid match. But it's just tough because, it's like Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed are part of the Seth Rollins group, and they all seem pretty well protected. There's not a guy there that can, like, afford to take a pin. Like, maybe it's Bronson Reed. But it's just like, I don't understand what the scenario with this group, like, what I don't think makes sense is, okay, Braun Breaker joins because I guess he wants to get to that next level, and he can get to that next level with the tutelage and the knowledge and the direction of a Paul Heyman and a Seth Rollins. You got Paul Heyman, who's probably the best manager of all time. You got Seth Rollins, who's like at the top of his game and has been for quite some time. And then you got Bronson Reed, who's just like the muscle, and he's gone toe-to-toe with Seth, but maybe they're better together than they are apart. But it doesn't feel like the two of them are going for the tag titles. And Braun Breaker doesn't seem to be going for the IC title, a title he lost at Mania and didn't get pinned or submitted for. It just feels like he could probably get a rematch if he wants it. So if he's not going for that and Bronson's not going for that, it's like, are they all going for the world title? Well, there's only one, and there's three of you. Like, I don't get what the end game is here. Like, is it the end game, Seth, I'm going to win the world title, I'm going to have these guys by my side watching my back? That, I guess, makes sense. But then what is it for Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed? Is it I'm going to help Seth win the world title, and somewhere down the line I will get the title from Seth? I don't see what the end game is here storyline-wise. And that's what part of the reason which is hard for me to jump on. Let's see what other comments we got. But they're not booking Natalya. Yes. So Natalya definitely doesn't have 19 losses. But I'm saying she probably has something like 15 losses and 2 wins, which is a lot worse, in my opinion, than 8 wins and 19 losses. Natalya is underrated, says Fernando Zayas. I mean, she's had her good times and her bad times. She's someone that, if she wants to be taken seriously, needs to evolve and get past just being a heart, like, family, adjacent person. Punk is lame right now, says Fernando Zayas. She's not the coolest thing since the other side of the pillow. I'll give you that. I don't know where he goes from here, but just being in a match with Seth isn't very enticing to me personally. I think, we didn't get that Mania match, which was a shame, but I think that Mania went off without a hitch, to be perfectly honest. And then, sorry, I hope you guys hear me okay. And this mic has been doing well. I'll have to watch this episode later and see, because this is only the second time I've ever used it. But they had the match on Raw, the first Raw of the year in the Netflix era, and I thought the match was just fine. And then they were in the Elimination Chamber together. I think they might have had one more rematch after that. And then they had the triple threat match at Mania, which I thought was a banger. And I think that's as good as it's going to get, because I think we wanted the year before Punk versus Seth. You're either on board or you weren't, but it was going to happen. It didn't happen. And then so many people have wanted Seth versus Roman for years at Mania. And I'm like, it makes sense from the standpoint of their story together. But one, I don't want to see it because Seth is going to lose that match, because he's won the majority of the matches between them, and Roman's always been their golden goose. And if they're going to have them straight up at this point in their careers, it's going to be Seth who takes the loss. And two, the fact that it's really Dean Ambrose belongs in that match too, of triple threat. So I feel like you get the best of both worlds there as far as Seth matches, was to have him fight Punk and Roman, and I think it worked out great. I don't really have any desire to see another Punk Seth match. The same way I don't have a desire right now to see another. Sorry, there's a bug over here. Let me see. Nope, I can't get it. I don't have any desire to see another Seth versus Cody match. The three they did, I think, are great, and just leave it alone for now. But it is what it is. Looks like we're going to get Punk versus Seth again. But not before we get Seth versus LA Knight. Yeah, which LA Knight kind of owned Punk at backstage, letting him know that's what was going down. So this match between Penta and Sammy versus Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker was very good. I think it was a cool way to end the night, even if there's not a lot of stakes. And it is kind of crazy that you're having two tag team matches. One's essentially opening up the show, and that's the one for the tag titles. And this tag team match in the main event isn't really with real tag teams. Like Penta and Sammy are not a real tag team. Sure, maybe they'll tag on occasion. I think this is the first time, and maybe in the future they'll tag on occasion. But they're not going to become lifelong tag team partners. Like Sammy's partner is Kevin Owens, who obviously is out injured, but it's also Jey Uso, and Penta's tag team partner is obviously Rey Fenix. So that's not going to become a thing. And again, Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker aren't really a tag team either. They're just two guys that are working with Seth. So when they need to team up for something, yeah, they'll do it, but they're not going for the tag titles. So kind of odd to see that in the main event. Obviously, it was the better match, so it makes sense with the main event, but it just doesn't make the tag titles look great, or the tag team scene in general look strong either. That being said, I enjoyed the match. I really wanted Sammy and Penta to win, or at the very least, if someone had to get pinned, make it Penta. Penta has taken pins already. I don't think it's a huge deal if he took it. I mean, let's put it this way. Sammy just won a big match in Saudi Arabia two nights ago. And they keep telling us he's obsessed with winning the world title. Well, then, protect him a little bit. I don't think Sammy has to turn heel to become world champ, but he does have to get the popularity back that he had before he lost to Roman. That match in Montreal versus Roman for the world title was huge for him. And I think if there was a second world title at that point, you could have easily put it on Sammy and everyone would have been happy. And a lot of people would have thought, hey, this is the better champion of the two world champions. We're back to two world champions. Sammy is not as hot as he was. He's been overtaken as far as popularity and catchphrases go by LA Knight, yeah, and Jey Uso, yeet. So he needs to figure something out to bring him back to the prominence he once had. And I don't think it's going heel. I don't think that's necessary. You have to do something different with your character. You have to have banger after banger after banger, which is really hard. In general, and especially when you're in WWE, when you've got time constraints, you got creative restraints. I'm sure them telling them you can't do that, you can't do this, sponsors, yada, yada, yada. And then you got the fact that you're doing this more often than most wrestlers. Like a lot of times wrestlers on the indies, they're wrestling on the weekends. Like WWE, you're doing this multiple times a week, not to mention all the travel. It's crazy. So I think Sammy will get there, but him getting pinned by Braun Breaker is not helping. There's an after-match attack, and Jey Uso saves the day, and the show ends with Jey Uso music playing. So not a great thing for Sammy. He's getting, taking the pin, getting saved, and he's listening to somebody else's music. Like, not great. But that's pretty much it for Raw. It was fine. It was a fine Raw. It went by pretty fast. It was 2.5 hours, and I started a little late, so it went by even faster for me with fast forwarding. A decent Raw to come back to, and a decent Raw to have after a big PLE. And they definitely seem like they're getting the ball rolling for their next two events, which will be happening that coincide next weekend. They've got Saturday night's main event, and they've got Women's Evolution. So yeah, it seems like things are going smoothly. Hopefully, I would say they continue to go smoothly and improve. This wasn't bad, but don't do worse than you did tonight. Keep moving forward. Keep raising that plateau, that measuring stick, however you want to call it. So this has been the Mark It Down podcast. I am your host tonight, Mean Streak, Matt Cascone. And we do this multiple times a week. We cover a lot of different wrestling. We cover WWE, obviously, AEW, TNA. That's James' specialty. You can catch him on Thursdays in the Gym Pack Zone. But we typically cover shows, right after they air. And then we're also doing stuff at live shows, cover all kinds of things. I've been doing a lot on our Instagram page, so check us out at Mark It Down Pod on Instagram, also on TikTok, Facebook, X, you name it, YouTube. That's where we're doing stuff now. Recently, I covered Fanatics Fest. That went very well. We didn't get to really do any interviews, but I made a lot of great content with Kevin Owens, Chelsea Green, Seth Rollins, Triple H, Penta. Penta was especially I just caught him in the hallway and I just filmed real quick. I was mad respectful, and he was really just he was vibing, man. He was vibing. So yeah, definitely check us out on Instagram. Those videos are up now. And then I also just worked with Subway Mania. I've done sound for them for the past few shows, and we just did stuff with the Hardy Boys. So there's a picture of me with the Hardy Boys. It's even on Matt Hardy's Instagram. I really, really wanted them to sign this belt, but I also, doing sound, I wanted to stay professional. So I was just I'll just get a picture and leave it at that, and I'll wear the belt in the photo, and I'll get them to sign it another time when I'm not working. But we got one more comment before we head out. What is it? Great work, Matt. Thank you so much, Daniel. It's been a minute. I feel like I did lose a step, but it's like riding a bike. You never really forget, and it just maybe takes a little more practice. And maybe a co-host next time, but no complaints. I'm really happy that I got to do this and be back with you guys, because it has been a minute since I've been on the air. What else? We just covered Major League Wrestling last week. They had a show in Queens, really solid show. I'm going to try and post a video. I'm going to do a highlight reel. Look for that tomorrow. Hopefully I'll have it posted tomorrow. And we just posted, as Raw was going on the air tonight, we posted a new video, our second interview with Kieran Culkin. So we'll definitely check that out. That's on Instagram right now. So thanks so much for stopping by, guys. Good to hear you. Good to see you all. Hope you had fun. Hope you enjoyed tonight's Raw. And keep on watching wrestling. Peace. Oh, I got to do the outro. How do I do the outro? Oh, geez. Outro. Video clips. I see it. I'm getting there, guys. Okay. Got it. I got it. All right. Bye.